kind of have the feeling that for the year of 2023, I will only be reading big books. And I don't know how I've ended up here. I've gathered the books that I would love to get to in 2023. The first book that I want to start with is a book that I ordered, but I didn't receive it yet, which is The Count of Monte Cristo. There's something about the title of the book that has always kind of interested me, and I don't even know what the book is about. I don't even know what the book is about. One second, we will fix this. So the book is about, I'm going to read the description. Thrown in prison for a crime he has not committed, Edmond Dantes is confined to the grim fortress of If. There he learns of a great hoard of treasure hidden on the Isle of Monte Cristo, and he becomes determined not only to escape, but also to unearth the treasure and use it to plot the destruction of 3 men responsible for his incarceration. I don't even know what the word is. Dumas' epic tale of suffering and retribution, inspired by a real-life case of wrongful imprisonment, was a huge popular success when it was first serialized in the 1840s. Okay, that sounds interesting, and it has a rating of 4.28. That is so high. I'm really excited. So The Count of Monte Cristo is written by Alexandre Dumas. I've ordered the book, so it should come in very soon, and I think I'm gonna be intimidated because it's such a big book, but I have it ordered in a Macmillan edition collection, and I'm really excited because I love the covers of those editions. The next book that I, by the way, ordered and I want to finish this year, but I might finish it next year because it's such a big book. I started reading it now this month, but it's so big that I might finish it in January. The book is Don Quixote. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm really sorry if I'm butchering it. But this is such a huge book, and I am really enjoying it. I never thought I would enjoy this so much because when I was young and I was studying music, we went to see an opera piece that was about Don Quixote, and I was bored out of my mind because the opera was in Italian and I couldn't really understand the word, and it was boring, so I was a bit reluctant to start this novel. And it really surprised me because I've heard so many people talk about this book and really liking it. So I was excited to give it a go, and I'm happy that I did. I got this book from the library because I thought I wouldn't like it. So I was gonna play it safe, but I'm at page 400 and I'm really enjoying it. So I ordered myself a copy because I have this rule that when I like a book, I buy it. And I cannot wait to annotate my own copy and talk to you guys about it. The next book that I wanna read next year, and it's actually a reread, but I wanted to reread this book for such a long time, is Les Misérables by Victor Hugo. And I've read it a couple of years ago, I think. No, I do not dare to say it, but it's been years, and I really enjoyed Les Misérables, and I really want to reread it. I also want to kind of set up a little reading club with people who also want to read the book, and then we can like set up a chat box and talk about it, because I really want to give this book so much attention, and I'm really excited to reread it. The next book I want to reread is a book that I always reread every year because it's my favorite book of all time, Notre-Dame de Paris. And this is also by Victor Hugo, and I am excited to reread it because I'm actually my book that will be published next year in Dutch. By the way, it's not available in English. It's a Dutch publishing house in Belgium, and I'm actually doing a retelling of this novel. and I'm very curious how people will respond to my novel, but it was such a joy to write, and yeah, I will be rereading Notre-Dame de Paris next year. Next, the book that I'm looking forward to most of all my big books is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. I am so excited for this book. It is huge, and I actually bought this edition so I can read it comfortably, but it's not gonna happen because I don't know if you guys can see from the video here, but the font is so tiny. It's so uncomfortable to read, and well, I'm going to try to read it in this tiny font. It is only 1,000 pages, but it's in such a tiny font. I'm really worried for my eyes, so I might get a copy from the library. I rather don't, but because I want to use my own copy, but it's so tiny, so I kind of feel forced to like get another copy in a bigger font. It's really annoying. But anyway, I love the cover of this one. It is Wordsworth Classics edition, so if you're interested, and I bought it secondhand. It's a new book. It's just a new secondhand book. It is also the complete and unabridged story, and I have to be careful not to light up my books with this candlelight. The next book that I would like to get to next year is also a Dutch book. It's about the French Revolution, and this is kind of just a history book about the French Revolution. I love French history. This last year I've been really busy learning about France in the Ancien Régime, and I've been having such a good time researching the time period and the period of Louis, the Sun King, Louis XIV, and Versailles, and it was so interesting. And I'm very excited to learn a bit more about the period after the Sun King, about the French Revolution, and it is also quite a big book, and it's just part 1. There's also going to be a part 2. Very excited for this one. Can you guys guess the book? The Lord of the Rings, of course. The Lord of the Rings is divided into 3 books, which makes it kind of a trilogy, but Tolkien always intended The Lord of the Rings to be published in one book. It's actually one book, but they just divided into 3 different books because it was too hard to publish it in one book. But this edition is actually very stunning. It's one of the most recent editions that came out. If you're interested, it is published by HarperCollins, and it is an edition of 2021, I think, but I will link it down below if I can find it. I actually would have loved to reread The Lord of the Rings this year in 2022, but I didn't get to it because there were so many books that I still wanted to read, and I always want to be able to read the 3 books in one go, and I just wasn't in the mood this winter. I don't know why. I did do a reread of the Silmarillion, so I'm happy anyway that I did some Tolkien reading. But next winter, I am definitely going to reread The Lord of the Rings, and I'm very excited. Then the final books that I would like to get to is actually a series, a fantasy series, and I don't know if you can guess the books, but they're huge. And I think the first book is the tiniest, oh my god, it isn't tiny. The least big is the right word. I'm going to turn them. Yes, Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings series, and this is the first book, which is the smallest, but it's still 1,000 pages. Oh god. You know, one thing I love about big books is that you get to spend so much time with the characters. Like, you get to know characters, and you're spending more time with them. You're getting to spend more time with them than you normally can. So that is one thing that I like about big books. You get so immersed in the story and in the world, and so much time to spend there. But they're also very intimidating for me because actually I do 50% of my reading is done when I'm traveling to and from my work, because I work in Brussels and I travel from this little city where I live to Brussels every day, and I spend a lot of time on the train and on the subway traveling to Brussels. I actually live 30 minutes from Brussels, which is very a short distance with the car when there is no traffic, but there's always traffic, you know. But with the train I have to like it's a really bad, there's really bad connections with the train and the subway. So I do a lot of my reading I do when I'm on the train, when I'm traveling. It's not comfortable, and I do not want to damage them because they're very beautiful editions. I removed the dust jacket. I also love the artwork inside. It is really beautiful. Honestly, I cannot believe that I haven't even started these books yet, because Brandon Sanderson is one of my favorite fantasy authors together with Tolkien. And I cannot believe that I didn't start it. I cannot believe that I didn't start these books this year, because my intention was to read them in 2022 and I never could bring myself to pick them up. I really cannot believe that I didn't start them. And so right now I'm gonna make myself a promise that I will be reading the first book of this series. I will get to it in 2023. I will. The biggest one I think is Oathbringer. It's such a chunky book. I don't even know how I'm going to read it comfortably. Anyway, I think these were hopefully the biggest books that I'm going to be reading in 2023. I don't care how many books I'm reading next year. I couldn't care less about the count. I couldn't care less about the amount of books. I just want to have a good experience, and I want to read good literature. And there are a lot of classic books on my TBR, and a lot of classic literature is very bulky and big. And one thing I do like about classic literature is they're almost always standalone books, and I really enjoy standalone books. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I just like kind of finishing one book and then moving on to the next one. I know a lot of people like to continue with the same characters and the same world, but I'm like the other way around. I like finishing a book and then go into something completely new. I really enjoy that. That's why I also, as an author, focus on standalone books, because I think there are way too little good standalone novels, and that's what I really want to focus on. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I would love to hear if you are planning on reading some big books. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. See you next time.